Hey, this is your host Andres, and I welcome you to Where You Listening, an exploration of blackness in the songs we love.
Y las caras lindas de mi gente negra, como un desfile de melancolía, que cuando pasa frente a mí se alegra, de su negrura todo el corazón. Ay, las caras lindas de mi raza prieta.
Today, we'll be listening to Las Caras Lindas, also known as Las Caras Lindas de mi Gente Negra, the beautiful faces of my black people, composed by Catalino Curet Alonso, aka Tite Curet, and performed by Ismael Rivera, aka Maelo. This episode accompanies the salsa episode of the second season of the Mixtape podcast. Give it a listen, we have some incredible guests. Let's start with what we know already. Maelo, the usual suspect, shows up again. If you have been following the Where You Listening series of our podcast, you know by now that Maelo was an Afro-Puerto Rican singer from Santurce who very often addressed issues of race and racism in the songs he chose to perform. He is also considered one of the greatest singers and soneros in the history of salsa. But then again, you already knew that from our tracks 4, Mi Negrita Me Espera, and 9, El Negro Bembón. If this is the first time you listen to one of our episodes, definitely check those tracks out if you want to know more about Maelo, El Sonero Mayor, the greatest sonero. Let me focus then on the composer, Tite Curet. He was an Afro-Puerto Rican journalist and composer born in 1926 in Guayama, Puerto Rico. His father was a musician by trade and his mother was a seamstress. Although not having much resources growing up, Tite Curet recalls having a joyful childhood. However, he also remembers the barriers that he faced as an Afro-Boricuan. For instance, Tite remembers that he wasn't able to go to his high school prom because black people were not allowed in the hotel where the celebration took place. Growing up, Tite was heavily influenced by his uncle Amado Alonso, a writer and journalist whom he helped in the printing shop of a local newspaper and who introduced him to poetry. Even though Tite had an insatiable hunger for knowledge, he had to interrupt his college education several times and ended up having a 37-year career with the Postal Service. During his 30s, he often traveled to New York as a sports journalist for Diario La Prensa. He eventually studied music, journalism, and learned Portuguese. Tite started his extremely prolific songwriting career when he was about 40 years old. El Gran Tirano, the Great Tyrant, one of his first compositions, is said to be the one that really launched his career. Interestingly, this composition was originally rejected by singer Roberto Ledesma due to Tite's unknown status as a composer. And it was La Lupe who picked up the song, which was transformed for her into La Gran Tirana. It was her, the Afro-Cuban queen of Latin soul, who first helped establish Tite's reputation as a songwriter. The rest is history. This Afro-Puerto Rican composer wrote more than 2,000 songs, including hits such as Anacaona, Juanito Alimaña, Pa Bravo Yo, Periódico de Ayer, and the list goes on and on. The long list of singers who interpreted his songs include heavyweights such as La Lupe, Joe Feliciano, Ismael Rivera, Celia Cruz, Héctor Lavoe, Cortijo y su Combo, Tito Rodríguez, Rubén Blades, Pete El Conde Rodríguez, and Roberto Roena. Tite Curet even wrote the song Adelante Siempre Voy, which is used by the dance company Host Melissa and I belong to, the Co Brothers Dance Company, in one of my favorite performances by the company. I'm serious. Go check out that performance on YouTube, it's really great. You can trust me because I wasn't in the company when it happened. Also, make sure to check out the great graphic work that accompanies this episode on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. Susan has created a great animation. We have introduced in it Las Caras Lindas de Nuestra Gente Negra, the beautiful faces of our black people who have, in one way or another, helped the Mixtape podcast. What we are about to listen now in Las Caras Lindas de mi Gente Negra is an ode of love and pride that Maelo interprets masterfully, injecting his brilliant soneo. Let's listen. This one is a special episode of our Where You Listening series because it accompanies the salsa episode of our podcast, and you know we love salsa here at the Mixtape Podcast. For the special occasion, we've brought on board Brandon Hampton, an African-American MBA student, dancer, and podcaster from sibling podcast Ritmos Negros. He will recite the English version of the lyrics.
Hello, my name is Brandon Hampton. I am a business graduate student at Washington University in St. Louis, and I am based in Chicago, Illinois. I host a bilingual monthly podcast called Ritmos Negros, in which I explore the African origins and history of music and dance of the African diaspora, meaning the collection of communities that descend from Africa. Although the podcast focuses on Latin America and the Caribbean, the goal of this show is very similar to my interpretation of Las Caras Lindas, to create awareness, empathy, and unification of Black lives and stories around the world.
Las caras lindas de mi gente negra son un desfile de melaza en flor, que cuando pasa frente a mí se alegra de su negrura todo el corazón.
Las caras lindas de mi gente negra son un desfile de melaza en flor, que cuando pasa frente a mí se alegra de su negrura todo el corazón.
The beautiful faces of my Black people are a parade of blossoming molasses that, as they pass in front of me, they make my whole heart joyous with their blackness.
Melaza, in English molasses, and sometimes called black honey, is a syrup that remains after sugar is crystallized out of sugarcane juice or beet juice. The song most likely refers to sugarcane molasses, which is sometimes edible and used in baking, candy making, and to make rum. Low-grade molasses is used in mixed animal feed. This latter use is the one I remember growing back in Colombia. I remember horses eating some kind of melaza mixture.
Las caras lindas de mi raza prieta vienen de llanto, de pena y dolor. Son las verdades que la vida reta, pero que llevan dentro mucho amor.
Las caras lindas de mi raza prieta tienen de llanto, de pena y dolor. Son las verdades que la vida reta, pero que llevan dentro mucho amor.
The beautiful faces of my Black race, having them tears, sorrow, and pain. They are the truths that life challenges, but who carry inside much love.
From the start, we hear the main two ingredients in Tite Kuret's ode: the obvious, intrinsic joy and beauty of Black people on the one hand, and on the other, the sorrow that has accompanied Blackness in the Americas. If you have listened to our previous episodes, you probably recognize a similar sorrow in songs like Raza or Canto das Tres Haces.
Somos la melaza que ríe, la melaza que llora. Que ama y en cada beso que conmovedora.
Somos la melaza que ríe, la melaza que llora. Somos la melaza que ama y en cada beso que conmovedora.
We are the molasses that laughs, the molasses that cries. We are the molasses that loves. And in every kiss, we are very soulful molasses.
Remember we said molasses was used to make rum as well? Well, it turns out molasses, rum, and African enslaved humans were part of the nefarious and highly profitable triangular trade that happened as part of the transatlantic enslaved trade during the 17th and 18th centuries. In order to get molasses, enslaved Africans were traded in the Caribbean. The molasses were used to make rum in the American colonies, and rum was traded back to Africa for more enslaved people.
Por eso vivo orgulloso de su colorido. Somos betún amable de clara poesía. Tienen su ritmo, tienen melodía. Las caras lindas de mi gente negra.
Por eso vivo orgulloso de su colorido. Somos betún amable de clara poesía. Tienen su ritmo, tienen melodía, las caras lindas de mi gente negra.
That's why I am always proud of how colorful they are. We are affable Buchanan, clearly poetic. They have rhythm, they have melody, the beautiful faces of my Black people.
Next, we have the verse used for call and response, which allows Maelo to indulge in his fantastic soneo. The chorus says,
Las caras lindas, lindas pero mira qué lindas son. Las caras lindas de mi gente. Tienen de llanto mucha melodía, te digo, Belén, tienen belleza y también tienen poesía de la bien linda.
las caras lindas, las caras lindas, las caras lindas de mi gente negra. Lindas, pero mira qué lindas son. Las caras lindas de mi gente negra. Tienen de llanto, mucha melodía, tienen belleza y también tienen poesía de la bien linda.
The beautiful faces. The beautiful faces. The beautiful faces of my Black people. Beautiful. Just look how beautiful they are. The beautiful faces of my Black people. They have in them tears, a lot of melody. They have beauty, and they also have gorgeous poetry.
Carita linda de gente negra que en la calma tengo un montón. Las caras lindas de mi gente negra son un vacilón.
Caritas lindas de gente negra que en la calma tengo un montón. Las caras lindas de mi gente negra son un vacilón.
Beautiful faces of Black people. That, in La Calma, I have a ton of. The beautiful faces of my Black people are lit.
La Calma here refers to the Calma Street in Santurce, Puerto Rico, where Maelo was born in 1931 and where he grew up. In that same street, he was exposed to the Afro-Puerto Rican rhythms that he helped get recognition, La Bomba y La Plena. In Calma Street, which was eventually renamed Ismael Rivera Street in honor of Maelo, you can find the Ismael Rivera House Museum in Puerto Rico. Definitely drop by if you're in town.
Lindas son las caras lindas de mi gente negra. Como te digo, la melaza que ríe, que canta y que llora, y en cada beso bien conmovedora y cautivadora.
Somos, te digo, la melaza que ríe, que canta y que llora, y en cada beso bien conmovedora y cautivadora.
I tell you, we are the molasses that laughs, that sings and that cries. And in every kiss, very soulful and captivating.
Te digo que en Portobelo, Panamá, yo vi la cara más bella y pura, y es por eso que mi corazón se alegra de su negrura. Esa sí que es linda.
Te digo que en Portobelo, Panamá, yo vi la cara más bella y pura, y es por eso que mi corazón se alegra de su negrura. Esa sí que es linda.
I tell that in Portobello, Panama, I saw the most pure and beautiful face. And that's why my heart gets happy with its blackness. That one is really beautiful.
The face that Milo refers to here is the face of El Cristo Negro, the Black Christ, a statue of a black-skinned Jesus located in the port city of Portobello in Panama. El Cristo Negro and Milo have their own very interesting story, but that's material for another Were You Listening episode. Who said El Nazareno? Qué lindas son, negrura de la pura.
How beautiful they are. Pure blackness.
Óyeme, pero qué bonitas son, lindas son, chulas son, bonitas son, lindas que son, lindas como tú eras, así son. Tan lindas como aquella que te dije, son un vacilón, un riquito vacilón, con tu corazón, rico de melón.
Óyeme, pero qué bonitas son, lindas son, chulas son, bonitas son, lindas que son. Lindas como tú verás, así son. Caritas lindas como aquellas que te dije, son un vacilón. Un riquito vacilón con tu corazón rico de melón.
Listen to me. Just how beautiful they are. They are gorgeous. They are stunning. They are beautiful. They are gorgeous. You'll see how gorgeous they are. Gorgeous faces like the ones I told you about. They are lit. A delicious party with a delicious melon heart.
Just as Milo was known for choosing racially conscious songs to perform, Tite Kuret was known for writing racially and socially conscious songs. In fact, he is one of the main contributors to what is known as salsa de conciencia, or salsa with a social message. You see, this is something I love from salsa. The socially conscious lyrics one often encounters in the songs. This is why I love the work of Tite Kuret. There are so many secrets left in these songs for one to explore and discover. And this is exactly why I started the Were You Listening series.
Bonitas, chulitas que son, lindas son, caritas lindas, lindas, lindas son. Llévame. Lindas que son, lindas son. Pero qué lindas son. Lindas son, componte para todas las caras lindas de Latinoamérica.
Para todas las caras lindas de Latinoamérica.
To all the beautiful faces of Latin America.
As an Afro-Latino, this dedicatory by Milo feels just great, doesn't it?
Desfile de negrura de la pura que viene de allá abajo. Las caras lindas de mi gente negra son un vacilón.
Desfile de negrura de la pura que viene de allá abajo. Las caras lindas de mi gente negra son un vacilón.
A parade of pure blackness that comes from down there. The beautiful faces of my black people are lit.
Las caras lindas de mi gente negra. Me la saque ríe. Ay, que canta y que llora. Y en cada beso, bien conmovedora, pero que linda.
melaza que ríe, que canta y que llora, y en cada beso, bien conmovedoras, pero qué lindas.
Molasses that laughs, that sings, and that cries. And in every kiss, very soulful molasses. Just how beautiful they are.
An important part of the checkered history of molasses is a piece of legislation introduced by the British in 1733 called the Molasses Act. This law taxed molasses from non-British foreign colonies into the North American colonies, aiming to increase and retain monopoly power for the British. It is said that the act became an irritant contributing to the American Revolution. Somos la melaza que ríe, la melaza que llora. We are the molasses that laughs, the molasses that cries. These verses provide a sharp summary of Tite Kuret's beautiful ode to black people entitled Las caras lindas de mi gente negra, the beautiful faces of my black people. Molasses was a commodity traded for and most likely produced by enslaved Africans in the Americas during the transatlantic slave trade. This is exactly why, when Maelo sings of molasses as the materialization of blackness in the Americas, the duality of joy and sorrow is accentuated. By now, you have probably arrived to the inevitable conclusion. We are, quite literally, the molasses that laughs and cries. To finish our explorations through this beautiful piece of poetry, I asked 3 people what this song means to them. First, Brandon.
Las caras lindas, to me, is Black pride in all of its breadth and diversity. A call to unite the diaspora through our shared beauty, our shared pain, and most importantly, our shared African heritage.
Years ago, in St. Louis, Missouri, my first salsa dance instructor told me after one of her classes in Flavor Studio that one of her favorite songs is Las Caras Lindas. I asked my dear friend Lauren Wilmore what the song means to her.
I love the song Las Caras Lindas by Ismael Rivera because of the very first line. When he starts out singing Las Caras Lindas de mi gente negra, I just find it such a thoughtful and thought-provoking point of departure for the rest of the poetry that follows, that talks so sweetly about Black people and how the writer feels when he sees them. And I even love how the feeling of the horns, which are like oftentimes add lots of bright energy to a song, here they're kind of like a sweet honey lullaby that kind of speak to the subject matter, the sweetness of the way that the singer describes Black people. I became obsessed with the song when I first heard it, and it's one of my favorites even now.
A couple of weeks ago, one of our listeners, without knowing we were preparing a Las Caras Lindas episode, interacted with us on Instagram and told us that he liked Las Caras Lindas. This is what our listener Tyler told us.
So, my name is Tyler. I live in Los Angeles and I'm an aspiring history teacher. I love Las Caras Lindas by Ismael Rivera because I can relate to the way he describes living around Black people. The way he describes us as a race of laughter, of crying, of loving, that we have rhythm, we have melody in spite of, all the challenges we have to face just for being Black in a white society, that we're still a beautiful people, and just, seeing other Black faces, all the different shades and shapes and sizes and colors and, combinations of facial features, it makes his heart happy. And living in Los Angeles, there aren't a lot of Black spaces anymore like there used to be, where you can just go and enjoy being around Black people. For example, we have Compton, Inglewood, Leimert Park, and I can just sit there and see my Black people, and just be at peace. And so that's what I get from his song. And one reason why I love your podcast, the Mixtape Podcast, is how you break down different songs that cover the Afro-Latino experience and really the African experience, internationally. For example, my favorite episode is when you did Bemba Colora by Celia Cruz. I love that song by her, but had no idea what it was talking about. And when I watched your episode on it, it gave it a deeper meaning, and it really opened my eyes to how similar our experiences have been of being Black, whether you're in Cuba, Puerto Rico, Brazil, the US, or on the continent of Africa.
I hope you enjoyed Tite Kuret's poetic production, Milo Rivera's outstanding soneo, and the social and racial consciousness both of them displayed in the songs that they wrote or performed. Thanks for being here with me today. If you weren't listening, now you are.
Mira qué lindas son las caras lindas de mi gente negra, son un montón.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. To hear today's song or other songs featured on our Were You Listening series, check out the Were You Listening playlist, which can be found at our website, tarheels.live/mixtapepodcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at mixtape.podcast, as well as Twitter and YouTube, which are easily accessed through our website. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for our posts. Thanks for listening. This is Mixtape.
Y en cada beso, bien conmovedora, pero qué linda. Requete linda.